What's going on, folks? Welcome to Got Your Back Short Shift Post-Game Edition. Brought to you by our good friends at Mid-City Construction Management, a locally owned family company specializing in civil construction projects for over 40 years. From roadways to excavation, underground utilities, paving, and concrete, they've played a massive role in the infrastructure of Edmonton and surrounding areas since 1980, and they are hiring right now. So go to mid-city.ca and click on careers. It's a great family company. No Dan and the crew over there. They're fantastic. It'd be a great place to work. So check them out. As we say, good evening to Jason Strudwick and Zuby, Chris Sabunia in Kelowna. I am in Vegas, was just at the game. Gents, how are we doing tonight? Zuby, what's going on, buddy? Chris?
How's it going? I'm picking up a double in my ear. Are you guys getting that?
No, I've just got a single in my ear.
Okay, then you guys chat. I'm investigating.
Okay, sounds good. And our friends on the stream can always help us out because we are live streaming tonight on Twitter and on YouTube. So if you want to comment and let us know in the stream if there's an echo that's happening, and Zuby can keep an eye on the comments and try and manage that behind the scenes. You want to live stream, you want to go live, well, you run the risk sometimes. Struds, how's your night, my man?
Good. Shogger, serious question or request. Mm-hmm. Blink twice if you're being held hostage in a closet right now. 2 blinks.
This is
let me know.
This is
Are
not
you
a
in
very,
trouble? I have friends in Vegas that can rescue you.
Yeah, I know. This is bad. So it's my hotel room. I can kind of show you around a little bit, although I got to be careful because Randine's just he's having some downtime over there. But yeah, this is the best I got, buddy. This is just the hotel room. There's not much going on around me right now. So
are you in a Russian jail cell?
You're loving this because I'm usually the one chirping you just about your surroundings.
One word, and I'll have friends there in less than 24 days. Just let me know.
Chopsticks. Chopsticks is my safe word. You come help me out. Zuby, do we have normal audio or are we bouncing all over the map?
We're good. It was just my internal. It was my internal thing because I had another window open with the stream, but I didn't think you'd be able to. The way I was hearing it, there was no way you would have been able to continue speaking in your fluid manner with hearing yourself. So I figured it was just something internal.
So you got us all sorted out.
And it
good
was,
stuff.
Yeah.
So we are live streaming tonight on Twitter and YouTube, and as I mentioned, and what we've been doing is Struds and I will break down the game a little bit here in our first segment, and then in our second segment, takeaways, we're going to take your questions and your comments here on the stream. You let us know what you thought of the game, if you have any questions, but there's a lot for Struds and I to get to, a lot to break down from that game, so we're going to get to the breakdown right away brought to you by our newest sponsor here on the podcast, our good friends over at Pro-Am Sports. They are your fan cave specialists, whether it's in your office, your basement, your bedroom, wherever you let your fandom scream out. Pro-Am Sports is the place to go for fantastic sports memorabilia. Established in '89, a truly local company that has lived and breathed every win, every loss, every up and down. They're right there with you, and they've got memorabilia for every budget. On St. Albert Trail, 1 block north of the Yellowhead. I was at the shop a couple of weeks ago. Man, they've got some fantastic stuff. So if you're an Oilers fan and you want to lean into this thing, stop by Pro-Am, pick something up, and cheer hard for game number 2. Okay, Struds, take me through your 30 or 40 seconds on what the heck you think happened to the Edmonton Oilers tonight.
In a nutshell, they had too many guys that were not prepared to play the way Vegas wanted to play. And, we kind of talked about before, they're a very good and quick transitioning team. They love to attack off the rush. And we saw, a couple goals go that way. They've got skill kind of throughout their lineup, and they love to forecheck hard. And I don't think the Oilers were mentally prepared for that throughout their lineup, kind of 1 through 20. Well, 1 through 18. I'll give the goalies a pass.
So I agree with you. And I think that there were some mistakes that were and rest isn't an excuse. Both teams were rest. If anything, it's rust ahead of rest. But let's run through the goals, right? They start off nicely on a power play, and they get things going the way they want to. Vinny Desharnais with a turnover. in behind the net, an even strength goal. Right away, Vegas counterpunches, and they were good at counterpunching in this game.
Great.
The 2-1 goal, I want your opinion on this one. I circle Leon Draisaitl on the back check, but I mean, I don't know. I was a forward. Maybe I think like a forward. I think he needs to keep his legs pumping, regardless of whether Darnell Nurse ran out of position or not. But did Darnell Nurse run out of position on that 2-1 goal?
I agree. I think Leon's got to, and we saw it last night when Toronto with Ryan O'Reilly. He didn't back check hard enough on that goal as well. That was the game-winning goal. I think that was the third goal. So I think that's a situation where he's got to back check harder. I think Leon's in the same boat. Now the guy scores 4 goals, so how much do you want to go at him?
Yeah,
I still
waste
think it's
of a
fair.
performance.
But Darnell really stood up. He stood up, I think, too far. He's got at some like. You want to stand up as a D-man, but there's sometimes you just got to realize that maybe that's not the time to do it. It's kind of a broken rush. You know, you got a guy coming late. Your partner's trying to hold up. He's way behind you. So now you're standing up so far, it creates a lot of room behind you. And that's what happened when eventually the goal was scored.
So would Darnell, the idea is to not give up the blue line. And so if he backs off, he's going to end up giving up the blue line.
Yeah.
But when he makes that decision to move to his right and approach the guy with the puck, he knows Leon Draisaitl's right there. And he knows there's a guy over here. And in his brain, he's putting that together, isn't he? Leon's going to get that guy.
He is, or CC can fold underneath, right? So maybe CC can fold underneath him and take his spot. I mean, it's standing up is important, but I think there's different times to understand when to do it. And then is everyone else going to read off of you and understand what you're trying to do at that time?
Right.
He's a very athletic player. He can get around and cover a lot of ice, but not everyone around you can move quite that quickly. But I think Leon's got to back check harder. I think Darnell's got to read the play, and then CC can fold under as well to kind of protect the middle of the ice. It's always there's not a D coach alive that doesn't talk about protecting the middle of the ice.
Mm-hmm. We didn't know if Mark Stone, we weren't sure if he was going to play, and if he did play, where he would be at. I thought the Oilers, they went at him pretty hard. I thought that they threw some cross checks his way. I want to talk about the power play goal. So Stone, he's just a game changer for them. He gains entry to the zone. He disrupts in the corner and shakes a puck loose. He goes to the net, and then takes a big cross check right after as well that I thought potentially could have been penalized. He's a game changer for them, and even though he's clearly diminished, I thought Vegas's big guys set the tone with hard work and speed and that sort of thing, Struds. But pretty good performance from a guy that we know is hurting in Stone.
Well, it's clear the Oilers are targeting him. Every chance they had, they were cross-checking him, bumping into him, and trying to make his life uncomfortable. And I get it. You're going to do that. You're going to do that through 7 games. This thing isn't going to be a quick series. Now, as far as that goal, Mark Stone is he's really good at stripping pucks, but winning puck battles. He's strong on his stick. And that was a 50-50 puck on the wall that the Oilers weren't able to get, right? And Stone did get it. And then what is it, Shog? I don't know, 5, 10, whatever you want to call it, seconds later, he's redirecting the puck in front, right? And that's a goal. So, you've got to find a way to keep those pucks on the wall on the power play, right? The talented teams are trying to get the puck in the middle so they make plays. As a penalty killer, I want to keep it outside the dots. Stone wins that puck battle. I think it was against Vinny, not to pile on him, but just, let's just be honest. And you got to find a way to win that puck battle or keep the puck in the corner, can engage in that battle in the corner.
They scrapped their way back into the game, down 3-1. They battled their way back in, and then all of a sudden it's that quick strike offense again. They let in, back-to-back goals. Vegas just kind of stunned the Oil at that point. I mean, they come out and they strike on their power play at the start of a period, and then just boom, boom. To me, again, it's more of the same, Struds. It's kind of a blown coverage. A guy standing all alone in front with nothing but space to screen the goalie and deflect the puck. And then you got Costin and Bouchard kind of staring at each other. Nobody's picking up. It's just like open season in the slot area there. So, again, just kind of defensive miscues and mistakes that were at a critical time. And they talked about that post-game. I know they were frustrated with themselves with not buckling down after good things had happened for them. They let their foot off the pedal multiple times tonight.
Loose. That was one of the words we heard from a lot of those guys. Loose, after the game. I think after every goal that's scored, the next shift is really important. And I will give Leon Draisaitl a lot of credit. That 3-2 goal is huge for the mentality of the team. But after you score or get scored on, that next shift, you have to take it upon yourself to saying, we're either, whether if we just scored, we're not going to get scored on. And it's hard because you're kind of excited and you're thinking you're going to get it back, but they're also thinking of trying to get it back, right? The mentality is that we're going to battle back, we're going to get that goal back. And, twice we saw tonight where the Oilers scored, then boom, right away, it was a goal scored right away after. And it's just not good enough, right? And I think it was Barbashev's, what was it, his second or first goal, where McLeod doesn't take him. He just allowed to tip it by himself. Like
standing there.
That's
free
his guy.
pass.
That's your guy.
To the crease.
And when you come off the ice, McLeod knows that's his guy. And I'm using names here, but I mean, there are other instances. One's just that one. But you know your job, you know your role, and you have to do it. This is, the Kings, I think, were, and in some ways, an easier team to play against. They didn't forecheck the same way. So now you're under pressure all the time, and you're feeling pressure. So your choice, everything feels, it's way faster because they're coming on you quicker, and the way that they attack is quicker. So you got to identify who your guy is quicker, then stay on him or communicate to your buddy who you're going to take and who he's going to take. And I thought it took the Oilers a while for that to kind of get going up to the Vegas speed. And we talked about it. Their forecheck is impressive, and they're big and they're fast, and they like to score off the rush. Even the one, this Stone, where he comes and kind of cuts to the middle, slides it over backdoor, and there's the one-timer. Someone's got to identify what's going on there. Whose guy is that? Who's this my guy? Is this your guy? Well, if we don't talk about it, no one knows whose guy it is, and he's able to score on that play, even though Skinner almost got it.
Want to hear from a couple of the players here. We'll go to the Weiss Johnson sound box. 45 years they've been in the business. So if you need a new furnace, garage heater, air conditioner, or hot water tank, or if you have any of those things and you need regular servicing, Weiss Johnson is definitely the place to go. They're a great local company run by great people, great service, really passionate about what they do. I've used them multiple times for services at my place, and it's awesome. They've always got great specials on as well, so visit their website. You can Google them. 5803 Roper Road, 780-463-3096. Roll the jingle, Zoo.
Weiss Johnson,
we're going to hear back-to-back clips here. We'll start with Matthias Ekholm talking about how, after something good happens, you got to keep playing. And then following that, we'll listen to Evander Kane. Go ahead, Zuby, roll Ekholm.
Even though it's free flow, you got to play defense at times, right? So we gave them too much space, we gave them too much time, and obviously when they got their chances, they had high execution and buried them, and that's on us. We got to make sure to keep them more to the outside and don't give them that high quality chances as we did tonight.
Like I said, we have to be ready after we score and after they score, and we can't give up goals in bunches, and we have to be sharp when we have the momentum after we score. So we weren't any of those two things tonight, and that's something that we'll have to get better at in Game 2.
4 goals from Leon Draisaitl tonight. He was asked if there's any solace in a 4-goal night. He just flat out said, nope, absolutely not. Here's Leon Draisaitl postgame.
Yeah, it's definitely a different looking team, different system. But yeah, we just overall weren't good enough. It's not even close to how we play and how we successfully play. So yeah, gotta move on, and we'll be better.
Lots of room to go up from where they started the series here, Struds. What did you pick out on the Golden Knights penalty kill?
Yeah, so, the penalty kill is something that obviously they want to work on. And when you look at the first goal, we've seen that goal. If we've seen it once, we've seen it 1,000 times, right? Connor moving around all over the place, zips it across to Leon and snaps it in there. So most teams, what they try to do is they go what I would call like a 2 or 1-2-2, where it's kind of like 2 D-men roughly in front, another guy kind of, let's call it around the hash marks, and then another guy above that. The idea or the concept is that there's multiple sticks in the lane, so they can't pass it east-west in front of their goalie, like we see, and then they can't pass it across. Right. So what I specifically saw later in the game is what they did is the Vegas went to a diamond setup. So a diamond now, it looks just like, a diamond would. And so you have a guy kind of at the top, 2 guys on the side, and then 1 guy in front of the net. So why would you do this if you're Vegas? you're saying, we're going to allow you to have the bumper in the middle, right? And the reason teams went away from that is because they had the bumper and guys were getting that open bumper pass and guys were shooting one-timers from there. So you could see the Oilers were actually surprised. The bumper guy was standing in the middle. There's no one around him. But Mark Stone was literally sitting on Leon Draisaitl's lap.
Draisaitl, yeah.
They'll like anyone else, we'll let anyone else shoot the puck here. And I think the Oilers were thrown off because the way he was defending, it was a clear diamond, what they're doing, or a box, whatever you want to call it. It was not a box is not right. It is a diamond because they had one guy up top, two on the side, and one back. And they were saying, no problem. You want to do anything other than what you want to do is pass to Leon. I think the Oilers are taking it back. So they're going to watch that back and they're going to check it out. They're going to find a new way to beat it. But I haven't seen another team do that to the Oilers this year. And that's, what are we at? We're at a 90 games.
Yeah. I want to talk about Connor McDavid, and fair warning to any sensitive fans out there. We're going to talk about the fact that he might be injured. So feel free to plug your ears or jump off the stream if you're going to be horribly insulted. Joking. I think he's diminished. I'm not sure what it is. Like, I think we know it's the left leg. But look, he played 24 minutes tonight, Struds, and he's still playing really well. And he's creating opportunities, and he's getting lots of shots, and he's doing things. But there is a percentage difference between Connor McDavid and everybody else on the planet when it comes to speed, explosiveness, agility. And I am not seeing that separation with his speed, his explosiveness, and his agility. I did not see it late in that last series. I did not see it here tonight. I do believe that he's playing diminished here. What have you seen?
I think that's fair. I also think you have to give some credit to the other teams.
Really, though? Do you think that they're doing a real good job on him? Like,
I think
do you
they
think
are.
he just doesn't have the pop to blow past people like he normally does?
Well, he might be. But I mean, when you see Connor now driving the puck up the ice, there are multiple players swarming around him and slowing him down. And it's almost like they're saying, you know what? We're going to dare him to pass it to somebody else. We're not going to let this guy do what he does. And he still makes some nice plays in that. But I may have made a note actually during the game is that Connor, if they're going to play him like that, he's going to, and not that he doesn't know this, but he's going to have to identify where the open guys are because there's 1, 2, 3 people on him, right? They're just smothering him, and he's got to find that open guy. Because I think that they're like, we are not going to let this guy beat us. We're not going to let this guy do what he does. And that's what I'm seeing. They're getting sticks in his way. There's bodies in the way. It just feels like there's a lot for him to kind of get through. Now, maybe he doesn't have his final gear, that 6th gear. He's unable to push through all that or to skate around it. But I just feel like Vegas did a good job, I thought, especially early in the game, clogging up the middle of the ice in the neutral zone, but specifically in the D zone. And it was hard to get there. And Vegas is longer. They're taller. They have more reach. And it's hard to get through all that. It's like running through mud. It's just heavy and hard. I think we saw that. And really, what did the Oilers have for shots in the first period? I mean, I know it got up to 7 or 8, but there was like 3 for the first 3 quarters of that
14, period. It was 14-8 after that period. So, yeah. 2 players I want to talk about, Ryan Nugent-Hopkins and Darnell Nurse. Start with Darnell Nurse. His stats line tonight, 21-18, 7 shots, 6 hits, but was dashed 2. Somebody came at me on Twitter one day, like really hard, and said, you guys haven't been hard enough on Darnell Nurse on his off nights. I don't know. What do you think? If you were to assess his play here tonight, I noticed on Twitter fans, there's always frustration when Nurse is in the middle of making mistakes and maybe ran out of position there on the one goal. Where are you at on Nurse overall, Struddy?
I wish he would just settle into a patient type game. And I shouldn't say I wish. I think it would serve him better if he was just a more patient player. And it's a little unfair to go back and to look at other players, but I think of Jay Bouwmeester. Jay Bouwmeester, it's unlikely everyone will ever put any of his shifts or moves on Instagram and say, look at this move. This is elite craziness. But every coach wanted him out there. And he just 8 minutes and swallowed up the other team's top players. Just 8 minutes. And, just was never really out of place. I believe, and I've said this before on this podcast, I believe it comes from a place where Darnell wants to just do as much as he can to help the team win. And I get that. But sometimes if I want to do so much, you do too much and the wrong thing. And I think just simplifying it down, because he does make great plays. He makes, I mean, the rush he had, he almost scored off it. Like, his athleticism is incredible. He gets up there, but then some shifts, there's nothing there. Like, case in point, end of the game, you're pulling your goalie. You know, I didn't like this call necessarily, but he goes out, let's call it a split second early. Boom! Penalty. Like, you're trying to go out there quick. I get it. I get that. And I'm not blaming this loss on him, but it's just you're trying to do so much. Just hold on, take a breath, and then get out there, right? And that's kind of what I see. What do you think?
Yeah, I agree with you, and I think you're being more than fair. I think, you know, there's going to be an opportunity there to make a great play every now and then, and it's going to present itself, and it's okay the rest of the time to just be staying within a certain game that you know is what your team needs from you. Stay within that game, and then when the opportunity presents itself, take it. And I think, at times forcing things, at times just erring on the side of just making sure you're defending, you know, as opposed to being too aggressive at times. So I think that's fair. I think Ryan Nugent-Hopkins needs to be better. Hasn't scored a goal yet. Not a single shot on net tonight. Ended up -1. This was a fantastic offensive player during the regular season. They need Ryan Nugent-Hopkins to start scoring some goals and chipping in offensively.
I'm going to say it here first. I split them up again, Connor, Leon, and put some lines back together.
Well, it's how they started the game. We're going to get to that in a minute, by the way.
And I, you know, I don't know. I look at these centers. Give me a chance, man. Give me a chance against Eichel. Give me a chance. Like, I want to take these guys on, right? And by balling them up on the same line, I don't know. I know that they actually got to start. They wanted up 1-0 on the power play. I'm like, okay, things are looking pretty good. And then it gets away from it, and then Janmark gets hurt, and then kind of things unravel as far as like your line combos. But I'd still go back to that. I'd put Nuge beside whichever one you feel is the guy for him.
Yeah. Generally McDavid, right? So McDavid, Nugent-Hopkins, and Zach Hyman.
Yeah, I know.
Okay. I want to get to something on the coaching front. And I really want your opinion on this. Here's the setup. We pay close attention to the lines. Who's playing with who? So the Oilers finish the LA series with McDavid and Draisaitl on a line together. They play well. They get them through the series, and it works. We talked for 4 days about what the lines are going to look like, who's playing with who. I fly to LA. I go to practice. We pay attention. McDavid and Draisaitl on a line together. Day off, morning skate, McDavid and Draisaitl on a line together. Play tonight, warm up, McDavid and Draisaitl on a line together. Start the game, they're on separate lines. They started the game tonight playing lines that had not practiced together all week. So I understand that Jay Woodcroft likes some tradecraft here. It's misdirection, not wanting the other team to know what you're going to do, trying to be sneaky with things and all that, Struds. I don't like it. I think it's weak. I think you have the best 2 players in the world and you don't have to worry about that stuff. And I think players like to practice with the players that they're going to play with. And I think when you practice them all week on different lines and then start them with all different lines, I get they've all played together. I get that there's familiarity there. I think players want to practice with the guys they're playing with. And I think he's overthinking it. I thought they looked flat in the first period and disjointed at even strength. I don't know if that's why, but I just think practice the guys and the lines they're going to play in so they can be sharp and in sync. Am I overthinking it, buddy?
Well, to be fair, they only had 2 practices, right? Because they would have practiced
2 practices. That's 2 full practices with the whole team.
Not 2 full, because one was because they had a day off Sunday, practice Monday, then Tuesday some took it off. Did they practice Tuesday?
Yeah.
I thought they had like
what day are we today? No, they had a day off, and then this morning was a full skate.
Yeah, so but a morning skate. I mean, you and I could take part in those morning skates. They're pretty minor. So they really had one team practice.
The first thing you do is you run line rushes at a morning skate.
Oh yeah, but line rushes. I mean, those things they're just a joke. You're just touching the puck. Like it's nothing. There's no chemistry off of that. The big thing would be the team practice. So the morning skate, like I don't think it's a big deal. But I will say this. and I said this
What about-
immediately after.
What about pregame warm-up, bud? Sorry to interrupt you. What about pregame warm-up?
Pregame
None of it
warm-up,
matters? Doesn't matter? Like,
I don't
whoever.
think pregame more. I don't think it really matters. Like, honestly,
Okay.
you're not really going that hard. You're touching the puck. Like, you're not really developing chemistry in a pregame warm-up or the morning skate, unless you're doing something after, maybe a 3-on-3 drill. I don't really see it. The team practice is where you get it. But I'll say this. I said this the moment after we did the podcast, or right away when we did the podcast, after Lures won, I said, they don't need to have tricks against whoever they're playing next. You don't need tricks. This is a team that should come out, feel good about itself, and say, this is how we're going to play, and you play this way. I'm not into the trickery. I am a strong advocate to split up Connor and Leon. Now, if there's an injury, whatever, I can't really comment on that. But I'm not a fan of needing to feel like you need to do tricks. You are a good team. You roll out there and say, this is who we are, and this is how we're going to play. You guys have to stop us.
We asked Leon Draisaitl post-game if not practicing with the line you play on was bothersome at all. And he said, you'll have to ask other guys. It's not for me, but maybe for some other guys it is. That was his answer. I asked Jay Woodcroft post-game if, there was kind of a risk-reward. The risk being you throw some misdirection at the other team. They don't know what you're going to do. That's the reward. But the risk is that you've got guys not practicing together. Right. And not getting the flow and feeling the flow of the lines and being in that rhythm and knowing you're going to be aligned, right? You're going to be aligned together. And yet, I don't know, man. And he said he disagreed. He didn't think there was any risk in not practicing them together. And he feels they're versatile and that it's not an issue. So this is just a thing for me. I don't like it. I think it sends a signal to your team that some sort of trickery is needed because what? If you think you're the best team and you have the best players, practice the way you're going to play, practice hard, throw it out there and say, beat us. Don't look like you're running from something.
Yeah, I'd agree with that. I said that. I think that's you're a good team. Like, just go out there and say, this is what we're going to do. You guys got to keep up with us, right? And I don't know. I mean, I wasn't there for that's Monday practice. I doubt it was super hard, but you can get some kind of feeling.
It was a long practice. They did a lot. Yeah. They did do a lot in that practice.
So you're covering some stuff there, but the other one, the morning skate and the warm, I'm not sure. I mean,
you don't care.
I not really. I mean, I guess. I mean, when you're a D, you're kind of moving in and out. Like, it doesn't really matter. But I don't know. I think that there is a better version of the Oilers than we saw tonight.
I agree.
I think that better version is those two guys split up and putting some lines together where you have to have, two or three lines that can really go. And then a fourth line that is going to get mixed in with Draisaitl or Connor at center. I liked what they started with. I didn't mind that starting line up front. I didn't necessarily like the defense they started on that starting line. I would have started a different group. I probably would have put Ekholm out there with Bouchard or Nurse's pairing. I didn't necessarily like that Darnay was out there.
Yeah, and they started with McDavid and Draisaitl on separate lines, and then when it wasn't going well, moved them together in the second period a little bit later on in the game. Okay.
Yeah.
Great breakdown, Struddy. That was awesome. Now, folks on the stream, we want to hear what you have to say. So Zuby, pop back in here. Chris has been monitoring the comments. And we're going to get to some of those in our takeaways segment. And that's brought to you by our good friends at Horse Racing Alberta. Live thoroughbred racing returning to Century Mile Racetrack Saturday, May 6th, just a few days away. Stand trackside and feel the thunder with some of the finest thoroughbred racing in Western Canada. And make sure you're in attendance opening day for live racing. You can also watch and wager on the Kentucky Derby. Opening day, Saturday, May 6th. For more information and to stay up to date, head to thehorses.com. Okay, Zuby, Struds and I have had a lot to say. Let's get to the Weiss Johnson Twitter mentions and YouTube mentions. Where do you want to start, pal?
I thought this was kind of interesting. Momes Hontorio, maybe I'm butchering that, and there's some reference I'm not getting, but I'm going to. I like to always try to shout out people's names. I know it's exciting. Oh, he totally asked my question, but that doesn't mean I don't butcher some of the names along the way. Anyway. Said, I'm paraphrasing, but basically blaming tonight's performance on the 1-3-1 that the Kings played, throwing off the Oilers' timing coming into this game and just kind of running it back to the same thing as last year of the Oilers having a tough time adjusting in the first game against Calgary. Do you guys think there's anything to that?
Yeah, Struds, I asked players about this postgame. Was there a difference in style that was dramatic enough that it took some adjusting to? Because I do think it was a very different game. It was a very different strategic game, very different speed game. Do you sense that through them off, Struddy? Oh, did we lose him, Zuby?
Oops, yeah, I'm not sure what's going on with his mic.
Oh, sorry, I got
Struds.
it. I got it.
Had yourself muted?
Coughing, so yeah,
Okay, no problem.
So I do feel that it does make a difference. Stylistically, when you're playing a team like Vegas or like the Kings that were more hesitant to really forecheck hard, especially on the road and would back up, you had nothing but time to make a play, right? How many times do you see the Oilers left defenseman get the puck, skate up, pass it to the right defenseman, he'd go and shoot it in. Very methodical, very organized, and quite frankly, very easy to predict for both teams. This isn't how Vegas is, man. They're attacking quickly. They're looking for stretch passes out of their own zone. So as soon as they get puck possession, that offside winger is gone, and they're firing that puck up there. The Kings weren't doing that, at least not consistently. And then the forecheck. I mean, they were on the forecheck. They were coming hard to put pressure on the Oilers D. And the reason you pressure is you're saying, we're going to put pressure on you because we think you're going to turn it over. And a couple of times the Oilers D did because of the pressure. They will be more mentally ready for that moving forward in game 2.
Zuby, go ahead with the next one. And then maybe if there's anything there on Skinner too. I wonder if people are curious at all about Skinner. So check the feed for something along those lines. Zuby, what else you got?
Sure. I was going to say, I mean, I think you guys have kind of touched on this, but if Janmark is hurt, if Janmark's out of the lineup again now possibly, does that make it time to go 12-6? Does Desharnais come out? Lots of people, I know there's lots of talk of clamoring for Ryan Holloway to get in, or Dylan Holloway. You guys are closer to it than the fans are. Do you get a sense that there's a chance Dylan Holloway's drawing in at some point?
Yeah, I think so. I've been watching him at practice. When Evander Kane doesn't take morning skate, Holloway plays with McDavid and Draisaitl. I think the minute there's an opening, I think Dylan Holloway is the first guy that gets the tap, and that's even ahead of Devon Shore, who had actually a pretty strong finish to the season. I'm in favor of it. I think he's the right kind of player for this series. You got to give him the right line mates, though. Have to give him the right line mates. But I could see them making that switch, and didn't look good with Janmark there. Struds, what do you think about bringing a raw rookie into round 2 in a series like this?
I think I'd put Ryan. I'd put Derek Ryan in before Holloway.
Now I believe he was sick, and that's why he wasn't in tonight. He wasn't scratched. He wasn't available. I don't believe.
So I think that I'd probably go, if Janmark, and it didn't look good. So I have no idea what's up with him, but let's assume he can't go. I think I'd put Ryan back in before I'd put Holloway in.
Do you feel like they need to stay 11-7 because of the unpredictability in Desharnais right now?
I'm not sure how unpredictable it is. I think we're looking at a
Broberg played more. 9:40. Broberg played 8:19. Desharnais played.
It's gonna be a very fast series. A lot of pressure on the forecheck, and they're going to be looking for him. They are going to be looking for that guy. And I say this with all due respect because that was me. I know. Like they're not dumping in the other corner, man. They're putting in your corner because they want you to go back and get that puck. So I say this with a tremendous amount of respect, and I just know it. So I would not call it unpredictable. I think we know what's going to happen here, and I think that do you just go with Broberg, but then it affects your penalty kill. So that's where it becomes really difficult. And then can a guy just sit there and kill penalties? That's, there's no guarantee there's going to be, what was there? Four power plays, 3.
I can check it here while you're chatting. Yeah.
Whatever. It was not a ton. We're not talking about 10 minutes of ice time here. Right. So I'll be interested how they handle this. Right. I mean, he started the game. There's that's a massive amount of confidence shown in a player starting the game. But this series will not slow down.
2 for 4 they were on the power play. What else you got, Zoobs?
But one was the empty.
Of course, they count. Yeah, they counted that. I'm surprised.
The
empty netter counts as a power play.
So it's a little bit. That's
good point by you guys. That's fair.
A little bit, yeah.
Real Todd Hall says, what about Stu? I know he's facing tough shots, but less than 890 save percentage and 368. Average loves Stu, but we need one more stop out of him. It's a bit of a theme. What do you guys think there? And a couple people asking about, is Campbell on the radar for game 2 or no?
I think, and I'll take this one, Struds. I think there's a conversation to be had about going to Campbell. I think at the end of the day, they'll go back to Skinner, but I believe it's not a simple decision because while Skinner got the job done in the last round when they went back to him, and while he bounced back nicely, from his loss last round, Campbell also did really well too. And, they've got 2 goalies for a reason. So I think it'll be Skinner, but I think there'll be some conversations. Ready?
I'll say it again. They're going to need him. I've been saying it since Christmas. I know
that's
no
an
one wants
easy
to
thing to
anymore.
say.
I know,
Every
but it's not an
needs
easy
2
thing to say.
goalies at some point.
It's not
during the
easy
year.
to say when he was having a tough time, right? Tough stretch. I was still on it. They're going to need him.
Are they going to start him next game?
I'd say it's unlikely because the team didn't have the best game in front of them.
Yeah. I think that's a great point.
If we see a return, let's say the team plays well and the score is not a win, coming back to Edmonton, we might see old Soupy Campbell coming flying out of the gate first, game 3. But I don't believe we'll see it for game 2. I think that the team wasn't just, loose. Everyone kept saying loose, the players after the game. And I think I would agree with that. So how much can you really put on your goaltender in that situation?
I think it was Ekholm who talked about it being their B or C game tonight. They know they've got a lot more.
For sure.
And you definitely don't want to hang it around Skinner's neck. I think they'll likely go back to him. Zuby, let's do 2 more, buddy.
Okay, this one's coming from me. Nobody, I haven't seen any mention of this, but how about the too many men penalty? What's like? That's playing loose. You take a too many men penalty when you're trying to get the goalie to the bench. I can't recall seeing that. I couldn't tell you the last time I've seen that because that's such a, what the job is there. Get the goalie to the bench and get the extra guy on. So for them to mess that up, who do you point the finger at or what do you chalk that up to?
I saw the freeze frame. So I was watching the U.S. broadcast. I'm not sure what you guys saw up there in Canada. I saw a freeze frame where there was 6 guys very clearly on the ice and quite deep on the ice, and the goalie was at the blue line. So, not anywhere near. They clearly jumped it. I think I don't know if they have the discretion to just blow the whistle and blow it down, like sometimes they would on a change where guys leave the bench too early. I don't know if the rule is there or not for them to do that. But clearly they jumped it early, and I was okay with it based on the evidence I saw, Struds.
Yeah, I saw it a little differently. I thought they were calling the exchange between Nurse and Ekholm on that change. Because I thought Campbell's still quite a ways back, and I thought Nurse was jumping for Ekholm. And I might be wrong. Maybe there was a different.
Yeah.
But you can't have it happen. But that just shows you're a little bit off. And so we can point the finger at the coach or the player or whatever, the goalie not skating hard off or whatever it is, or even Ekholm not skating off hard, but you're just a little bit off, right? You're not quite sharp. Because you can't do that. You need that extra guy. And the Oilers were pressing. The last 7, 8, 9 minutes, there was a lot of opportunities for Oilers to score. I would have liked to see him have a chance 6-on-5.
Yeah, for sure. That's a tough penalty to take because considering who you've got. Were you surprised they didn't pull him a little bit sooner? They had pressure in the offensive zone with Draisaitl and McDavid on the ice, and they didn't pull him, which it turned out good because there was a 2-on-1 back the other way.
Yeah.
And as they were heading up ice, I was like, is there a goalie in net? And then I saw Skinner was still there, and I thought, okay, well, that worked out.
I think it was actually a 3-on-1.
I was surprised. Yeah. Was it a 3-on-1? I was surprised they hadn't pulled him.
Yeah.
I was surprised they hadn't pulled him a little bit sooner.
I think a little bit of bench management too. Like Leon and Connor were out there a long time.
Yeah.
So how do you you can't be out there for 3 minutes with no stoppages. If there's a stoppage, no problem. But do you go back with another line that come back with those guys, or come with them to get them to change and go back out? But you're trying to score. They were just off. Even that is off.
Yeah.
right? A little bit where we've seen them cleaner, especially against Kings, where it was like, and not to be for this when they're protecting leads, but it was clearly like, this unit, that unit, this unit, the last 3 minutes, or this pairing, that pairing, this pairing, where this just seemed a little bit, it was just discombobulated a little bit, right? And who's out there? Why they're out there for so long? Why? Then we get the offside or the too many men. Like it wasn't dialed in completely. And I think, and then to put a more positive spin on it, with all that being said, they were one shot away from taking this to overtime.
Yep.
So, does Vegas have a better game? Yeah, Vegas probably was a better game, but if they've shown they can score in Brassois, or one guy can score in Brassois, I'm guessing others can do it as well. They scored and they can show on the power play, even though I think Vegas did a good job. I think that they have a way better game in their own zone. They have a better game on breakouts, accepting rushes from Vegas. Like, all those things are going to be better, and yet one shot away from overtime. So, it's going to be a hard series, man. This wasn't going to be a 4-game sweep. I said 5, not looking great now, but I think that there's an opportunity here for it to for like, it's not the end of the world.
Yeah. Let's write down the word. What?
I was trying to do my Paul Maurice impression from last night because I said 6.
The penalties. Yeah.
Right. I said, well, I was in 6. So.
Let's write down the word disembobulated, and we'll add that to the Strudwick Hall of Fame.
I got a sore throat here, and I'm trying to play through this thing, guys.
You're coughing a lot, I can tell. Okay, Zuby, last one of the
dry
night,
cough.
my friend.
Sure. How about we end on something positive ish? Boba Fett. But yeah, just because that's the kind of guys we are.
Yeah. Boba Fett. What are we doing here?
Boba Fett thought that Ekholm had an incredible game in all 3 zones, and that he and Bush were the by far the Oilers' best defensive pairing. Thoughts?
Yeah. Sure. If you wanna peel a positive out, I thought Ekholm had some moments that weren't great in his own end, a little bit uncharacteristic of him. Bouchard, couple of assists. He continues to pile up the points, which is impressive. He had 5 shots blocked in this game, which is a little bit unusual for him. So I would say, sure, if you need to go peeling through this to find a positive to feel a little better, then I suppose, sure, Struds.
I think on a night where not everyone is firing on all cylinders, you could make the case that they were the better deep pairing. But
sure,
again, this isn't. We're not comparing.
Shining up the turd. Yeah.
It's just. But listen, everyone's got a better game in them. I think. Even Leon, who had 4 goals, it was amazing. He's probably got something he wants to work on, right? There's areas of improvement here to be had across the board. And again, they were 1 shot away from overtime.
Right on.
2 4-goal scorers on back-to-back nights in losing efforts. That's got to be.
Yeah, that's insane.
Yeah,
crazy night from Pavelski, and then Leon Draisaitl, 4 goals tonight. Pretty impressive stuff.
And all right, also what I'm saying, if you don't love that comment, Ryan, what I'm saying is that's the last good one I had, other than comments about your guys' headphones. So if we want to get back into the headphone debate,
no, mine aren't as bad as Struds, are they?
No, but somebody who's particularly upset with us to begin with said something about, I forget, don't you have enough money to buy AirPods? That was the sentiment of the
really?
Of the comment. Listen, yes.
First of all, Struds is an Android guy, so you're not even an Apple guy. Hey, Struds, you got the PCs and the Android phones.
That's right, 100%. I'm anti-Apple.
Really? I'm all Apple. I'm staring at so much Apple product in front of me. But just so you know, from a technical standpoint, we have trouble with AirPods in our software. We find there's little hits here and there. So we have a strict no AirPod policy here on Got Your Back. So thank you for your technical feedback. All right, boys, I'm exhausted. Struds, I can tell you're fighting it too. So let's get the music rolling and shut this thing down. Good job, guys. A couple of days off before Game 2 is set to go on Saturday. By the way, feeling your pain, Oiler fan. My wife was traveling down, and before she got on the flight, that was right when they announced the change in schedule. And so she was on a flight with a bunch of people that had made plans to come down and go to 2 games here in Vegas who had their plans ruined. And she said it was just mayhem on the flight. People were so upset and so frustrated. I think it's ridiculous that they did that, Struddy. To do that to fans who've made plans and spent money, crazy.
At least you're trapped in Vegas and not in Buffalo.
Okay, glass half full on that one. Do you hear that, Oiler fan? Strud says, quit complaining.
I wish I was in Vegas. I wish I was there.
All right, guys. Have a good night. Let's shut her down.
Good
We're
night,
all
guys.
tired. We all need to go to bed. Thank you for joining us on the stream. We'll do it again in a couple of days. Big thanks to our sponsors as well. Mid-City Construction Management, Pro-Am Sports, The Horses, and, of course, Weiss Johnson. Have a great finish to your nights. Time to go hit the tables. And we'll chat in a few days. See you, folks.